Hi everyone, Pete and Grady here from the Paper House.
Hello everyone.
Thanks for tuning in again. And tonight we want to talk about a bit of research we were doing during the week because we were researching overpopulation and current topics that everyone is concerned about. And we came across a really interesting finding that if you were to wipe off all of humanity, all 8 billion people, you would only remove 0.1% of the world's biomass.
Of living matter.
Yeah, of living matter, so it's called biomass. 0.1%, which is equivalent if you were to kill all the ants in the world. So there are millions and millions of ants. We don't know how many, but obviously more than humans.
It's amazing. They've got the same biomass as 8 billion humans.
Yeah. We never talk about like removing ants to make it more space and to allow Mother Nature to restore.
Although I remove a few ants every year, and I'm a bit conflicted now because every summer we have lots of jackjumper nests in our lawn. The grandkids can't play outside safely, otherwise they'll get bitten and they hurt like crazy. I've been bitten too, and so I used to go around and poison them, but now I'm of two minds whether.
Of course, we've been doing lots of fun research. We've gone down the ant hole, not the rabbit hole. The rabbit hole with ants, it's been really funny actually. We found out so much. But
they're amazing little creatures.
We're not going to tell everything because you'd find it boring. You need to have our brain probably to find it interesting. So what Peter discovered was that the size of an ant's brain, how much is that again?
Well,
250, I'll just say it now, write it down.
Brain cells.
So an ant has 250,000 brain cells, which is amazing. And we have 10,000 million brain cells. So, but Pete, what did you discover?
A colony of 40,000 ants, which is a small colony, would have the same sized brain as a human.
The same capacity, maybe even.
So, yeah.
And so like ants are actually even smarter than us because they usually don't go killing each other, do they? We don't see ants.
They protect each other.
Colonies making war with each other. Not in our garden.
In their communities, they protect each other. They all have the same smell, so they know when a stranger comes, it's got a different smell, and they attack.
Oh, so they do that?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah. So they're territorial.
Yeah.
And they also know when it's going to rain because they get really busy a few days before. So
bit better than humans.
Yeah.
We haven't got a clue. We rely on the weatherman, and he'll.
Some people
he gets it wrong more times than not.
Some people get sore knee joints and then they know it's going to rain. But some people actually don't know that if you suddenly have ants in your house and they're very busy, it means the weather is going to change for the worst. You're going to get a rainstorm.
We're going to get a rain.
Actually, I just remember something interesting that we didn't research this time, but ants love negative energy. They love it, so they'll often be active on a negative energy line or an energy stream that's coming out of the earth, and so you wouldn't put your bed there, like even if. And cats are the same. So cats also really love to neutralize negative energy. That's why they always like to lie on my feet, of course, Pete, at night. Anyway,
but an ant can lift 20 times its body weight and carry it inside into its nest where it's the female ants, though, the worker ants, they go and gather the food.
Oh, so it was the males?
No, the male.
Oh, well, you told me.
There's only one queen. One queen, and she lays how many eggs? Millions of eggs in a lifetime.
And then the queen is surrounded by worker ants, and I reckon, and they're sterile, so they'd have to be males pretty much.
Oh, well,
anyway, so... but what Peter's going to say, they have so much strength. If you translate it in human strength, it would be like an 8-year-old. Your 8-year-old child is lifting your car into your garage, right? Or trucks, or like teenagers bringing the trucks home on their shoulders.
We'd get a bit of a surprise if if the twins carried Ben and Lisanna's bus up to our place.
So anyway, that's how powerful they are, and they're also really, really smart. And what else was I going to say? They're also really, really clean. So the worker ants have to put out the rubbish, don't they,
Yep.
Pete? And so that's what really got us thinking.
One funny thing about one lot of ants, they take their eggs at night time, they take them deeper down into the ground, in the nest, to keep them warmer, and then during the day they'll bring them back up near the surface so the sun will keep them warm.
Yeah, so they're very nurturing.
They're busy
Yeah.
all the
So
time.
actually we were thinking what gives us the right, like human beings, to think the planet belongs to us, right? And we need to kind of, that's what I felt for Peter and me, just talking about us, to be a bit more considerate of all species.
We're only we're only one species. There are lots of species of different ants.
And then, of course, the ants, we have a lot in common with them, as you now know, and they all work together. They have a dream, they have a vision, they work together, they probably worry at night and think about their offspring. And, well, they would, especially if they're so intelligent that they keep their offspring warm and cart them around. But we were actually talking about that same energy, that ants have, like that same force of intelligence is what's driving our body too. And so we have that superhuman strength or superhuman abilities in our body as well, and it resides deep inside our bodies, actually in every cell of our body.
We've probably all read articles of mums and dads lifting a car off their trapped child.
Or a rock or something like that.
Just being able to lift it, whereas and that resides in us somewhere.
And so we were thinking, how can we live in a state where we can easily access that energy, and how does it get blocked, and how can we unblock it? So Pete and I, we came to the conclusion, of course, that it's a lot to do with living an inspired life. So how much inspiration you have in your body. So like if you're inspired by your life.
Dream delusionally.
Because if you're not feeling inspired, if you're not being inspiring, just expiring, that's the opposite, right? So there's often really not a sort of a middle ground. And if you have a big dream or a mission, a dream will give you lots of energy. And so Peter and I, we were thinking about different times where our dreaming abilities helped us through some really difficult times. So
we owned we dreamt when we were 20, we dreamt of living a life of homesteading off the land, and within 7 years we had a little farm. We lived there 10 years, brought our kids up there.
We had a 110-acre hobby farm, a really, really cheap farm in those days, so that meant it was all hilly and bushy, but it still had like 60 acres of paddock. And it was in the back of beyond, so a long way away from everywhere, and it was really, when you think about it, very unpractical, just let me say that, Pete, because we had 6 kids and we had to drive over a gravel road to catch the school bus, like
3K.
Yeah, twice in the morning, twice in the afternoon, and a long way from shops and so on. So, but we loved it because it was fulfilling our dream. It was firing, it was lighting us up, you could say, every day.
But when we got there, the hot water service was half full of mud.
Oh yeah.
There was dirty water coming out of the taps. So
we didn't have a good water source.
We didn't have a good water source. So that set me about to find a new water source, and that inspiration allowed me to dig a hole 40 foot down into the ground. And
or was it urgency?
It was both. But I ended up not finding water, but now when I think about something challenging, I remind myself, hey, if I can dig a hole 40 foot down into
with
the ground,
a shovel, by the way,
about 4 foot round, I can do anything.
Yeah, and how Peter, I'll just break it down for you, because we had a water diviner in, and he was absolutely certain that in this particular spot on the hillside, not far from the house, we would find water if we could dig a hole 13 feet deep. And nobody wanted to drill it for us because it was so far away. So a friend came and she said to Pete, well, I'll help you, and you only need to dig 1 foot a day, and then you have water in 30 days. And we were so desperate. So this is how you break it down. Like if you think, oh, I'm never going to dig a hole like that, but she helped us to break that down, and she actually came over sometimes.
She helped me dig it, because we needed one person up the top and one down the bottom digging.
And so like we got to 30 feet, but there was no water.
There was a 3 foot layer of white clay.
Yeah, and that was very wet.
That's what the diviner had felt, I'm sure.
But actually Pete kept going for another 10 feet to make sure that there really wasn't any water, so it was like 40 feet.
One of our friends he came down into the bottom with me.
And when Pete wasn't looking,
he peed. He peed in the bottom, and he said, "Hey, we got water."
Mm-hmm. Anyway, then it came to school holidays, and I didn't want any of the kids to fall into that hole and die, so Peter had to fill it back up. That was a bit sad. Oops. So that's how dreams can change your reality, and they really can get you from A to B. So, for instance,
eventually we did find clean water. I managed to get it out of a spring that was feeding our dam. Mm-hmm. Yep. So we managed to get clean water. Which is absolutely amazing, to have your kitchen tap and turn it on and have crystal clear water. But before that, we did walk down, how far?
I don't know.
A kilometre down a steep hill to the creek and wash our clothes occasionally. And
our kids have like amazing memories, the older kids, of swimming in the river every day, which wasn't the case, of course. But anyway, in your memories, it always gets better. We used to go down into the creek to wash our hair sometimes because we didn't have water. So this is really about harnessing your energy or activating your energy when you have like a big dream. So little children, they dream a lot, so they want to become an astronaut or an alien.
Ask little kids what they want to do when they grow up, and it'll be fantastic.
I know, and then we kind of squash, well, just talking for Peter and me, our dreams, of course, as children got squashed because people that was normal, people laughed at us or they said we couldn't do it and so on. But I think one thing that's always been good for us is that we inspire each other, Peter and I. So when I got hit by the truck and I was in ICU and people were like dying like flies around me, it was really terrible, wasn't it? In Alfred Trauma Hospital in Melbourne, where all the broken bodies are kind of deposited in ICU, and really all I could do then was to become very, very strong in my connecting to my dream. So I didn't go into any details. I think this is what people do sometimes. They just get hooked into the details of awfulness about their life. So our life can get really awful and traumatic. And seriously, we all get hit by our own private trucks at different times. You know, not literally, but different.
If we let ourselves go down that track, we'll get despair.
I think the ability, our health and our wealth and our well-being and our happiness hinges on where our focus is. So even I'm going to encourage you to be totally unrealistic, even if it seems totally unrealistic and delusional. Think of, the exact opposite of the awfulness they can be in at the moment. So,
and don't listen to the naysayers.
Yeah, and sometimes, Pete and I, we've been lucky that we've always sort of pulled together, but there have been times, that we didn't, in all honesty. And then you just have to become really stubborn and think, well, this is my private dream, and even Pete isn't going to take me away, isn't going to steal this from me. So you just have to become really stubborn in yourself. I think we all need to do that. It doesn't matter how happy you're married, in the end, doesn't happy. Because it's about, and also when it comes to health, this is also really crucial. I'm going to say this. If you have any kind of health problems, you're not going to get better unless you believe that you can get better. That needs to be in place first. And you also need to want to get better. So you need to be able to, your belief needs to be so strong that it's like coming up for air when you're drowning. That's how much you have to want to get better, because people, they give up on themselves.
And believe that your body can do it.
Yeah.
Because it is aimed at wellness, your body.
I do feel, I say this often, I feel that people give up on themselves too soon, but this can also mean like in your relationship, if you're not happy in your relationship, you have a choice, like you can either stay there and really 100% commit or remove yourself from that situation. The same with your health. If your body is aching or your digestion isn't strong, don't put up with it. Just keep searching and keep trying different things till your body is working for you, till everything is working for you. So I think that's really our message today, because so we can be motivated, happy, to be inspired by the end. So everything starts with a dream.
That powerhouse is inside each one of us.
It's exactly the same. So even an ant's nest would start with a vision of like, wow, this is, I don't know where the queen comes from, but she must come from somewhere. And then she must have
it's the same.
A few little workers.
Like, similar to the bees, the scout bees go out and find a good spot, and then the whole swarm comes.
But everything in life is actually created twice, right? So first you have to think of it. You have to think of what you want, in other words. And then it comes to you. Then the universe literally starts to act on your behalf as well. And if you do the mental work and the inner work, so you clear your inner blocks and your sabotages and you really commit to your vision, the universe is also going to work on the outside. So
the vision is created in the mind.
It gets triggered, but so everything is created twice. And even like the car in your garage, somebody thought of that model first and then worked to put it together. And so everything starts with a dream. And anyway, I want to finish. Pete, what did you do? This is not really my dream at all. So, but Pete used to love mountain climbing and stuff, didn't you, when you were young?
Oh, when I was young, I did a bit of rock climbing and mountain climbing, bushwalking. And I managed to scale up to the top of Federation Peak down in the southwest.
Yeah, so what on earth were you thinking?
Halfway up, I looked down between my legs, and 3,000 feet below there was Lake Jeeves. And my knees did begin to shake a little bit. But I did get up there.
Yeah,
and
that's
it
awesome.
was an amazing view. Beautiful. And when you do get to the top of your dreams and your aspirations, there usually is, it gives an amazing...
It gives you something in your tanks, like in your bank of credit, like for your own self-esteem and your self-confidence. And you have stories to tell to your children, and it's like a legacy. Before
the old Lake Pedder was dammed and flooded, my parents and the whole family, we all walked in and
went to Lake Pedder.
Went to that original Lake Pedder, and so it was, I guess it was instilled in us a little bit to enjoy nature, and now I'm enjoying the ants.
Yeah. So it's going to be toss-up what it's going to be this Christmas, what we're going to do with our ants. So if anyone has a solution that doesn't involve killing an ant colony,
because
let us know.
They're an important part of the ecosystem.
Yeah.
If we didn't have the ants, we'd be full of rotting.
These are like jack jumpers.
Rotting material.
Yeah,
right?
I know.
Yeah.
And jack jumpers, and we also have what are those other ones called?
Bull ants.
Yeah, the big bull ants. You don't have them in Holland, so if any Dutch people are listening, that's what I'm talking about.
I think the jack jumpers a name like that because they cause Jack to jump.
I thought it was because they jump
They
around.
do
Yeah.
jump about, but they also, if they nip you, they cause you to jump sky high.
Anyway, you can put some essential oils on the stings and it takes the sting out straight away. But I still think, you know, we need to think of a better solution that works for all of us. So that's funny when you think about, you know, that humans only take up as much space as the ant population. That puts things into perspective a bit, really, and we can all work together a bit more.
So
and,
what's the concern about overpopulation?
Well, if we all work together, apparently you can feed the whole world population easily into this, the continent of Australia, and the rest of the world would be free. And I think everyone would have 2 acres or something. Somebody worked it out once. And there is water under Australia that could be brought to the surface, and then everyone can have a beautiful 2 acres of like a food garden. And that would be super amazing. So that could be our dream. Peter and I do that sometimes when we drive past, say, a suburb that hasn't got any trees. We drive through it. And then we kind of feel a bit devastated because we always love trees. And so we don't complain about that anymore. We changed this about 10 years ago. We just pretend that we're driving through beautiful forest and we make it up. We say, oh, look at that beautiful tree and so on. Because whatever you have in mind will actually happen in the end, because everything starts with a thought and with a dream. But anyway, so I hope you
have big dreams.
Yeah, and if you've never dreamt about anything,
big inspirations,
it is innate to humans. You know, like it's your birthright to dream. So I'm going to say, start thinking of what you want and make it really, really big.
Dream big.
Yeah,
Yep.
and if you find your life is just boring or stressful, or you flatlined a bit, come and see Peter and me, because we can jumpstart you again with a treatment and just move obstacles out of the way.
We might get a few jack jumpers.
We can find where your energy is squeezed shut and get it flowing again. And also Peter, of course, can give you lots of advice on your nutrition and where you're falling down with that. So we're really here to support you and to inspire you to have the best life ever. You only have one life, and that you live with no regrets. And if you're not super happy, you can do something about it. So thanks for tuning in. I really, really appreciate that you take the time again to listen to Peter and me, and to listen to us ranting about ants. And if you have any concerns or questions, just send us an email or ring Peter on his phone. I'll put the links in the comments below. So hope you have an awesome week. Start focusing on what you want for yourself, just for yourself, not everyone else, and start feeling a change in your chemistry.
Have a good week.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
See you next week. Bye.